I was sort of hoping you could give me one because I'm not too sure I know how to brief that.
Well, is it just you? There's a big cough there. Are you not feeling sick? I hope because you must have been feeling pretty sick at half time.
Yeah, well, there's a little. We probably tried to do a lot of different things when we weren't close to. Tried a lot of different things to try and stem the flow. But if you're not winning the ball at the contest, then it doesn't matter what you're doing. You can't get the hands on the ball. Then you're going to have trouble. So, we tried a few different things, and it was just really just plugging the damn wall and just sort of hoping for quarter time or half time break so you could get to them and reset them. So, it was important for us, as we spoke about at half time. It was that was a summation first half really. I mean, we just outplayed. We just couldn't get the ball, and out possessions, contested ball inside 50s. I mean, it's red all over. So it's there was no real stats that were in our favour. So being completely dominated by a team. So it was trying to more look at ways, how do we hang on? So you could come in at half time and sort of think, look, if you get reset, then at least go from there. But a challenge for us was half time was, do we completely give the game away when completely we're in a losing position, and do we fight out the game? So that was the challenge in front of us, and we finished the second half, and we managed to finish I think in the positive side of the scoreboard. But that's just me, a coach, being optimistic as opposed to. Which is, I'm glad that they did do, and I'm glad that we as a group we fought through that, but well and truly too late in terms of the first half scores.
How was the players' mindset before the game as you saw it? No indication that the players were off.
Not really. I mean, you can never really tell until you get out there in the first 10 minutes, and clearly the first 10 minutes we just couldn't get the ball. So. That was a fairly big concern. No, it's always hard to tell. We come off a 6-day break, so you spend most of your week in recovery mode until you can get the chance to, focus on the game ahead. But I thought that every preparation was the same, as opposed to we had probably 1 day less. That's about it. Yeah. That's the moments when, as a coach, you do feel a little bit like that, but. Yeah, you do feel a little bit like that on the sidelines, but that's what we've got to be able to do is use it as a definite lesson for ourselves, and how do we work through that? And Retzlaff and Buick and Sheldon, Austin, Collier, O'Brien, and as well as some of our senior players, they've got really good lesson out of what actually is defensive pressure. And they don't give away too much, and that's what they force you to be able to play all the way and play every ball on its merits. And they provide a really good contest, and we weren't able to absorb that. So as a team we weren't able to absorb that. As a coach we weren't able to absorb that. So that's something that we've got to be able to make sure that we rectify pretty quickly.
Mike, you've mentioned that you weren't getting your hands on the ball, but it just seemed like when you're getting pumped in footy, the first thing you do is grab a hold of your opponent.
Yeah.
They didn't seem to be manning up.
No, it was a little bit frustrating. I mean, they were able to generate their own ball speed, and they quickened it up when they wanted to, went fast. I mean, that's what happens when you're chasing backsides, and that was so when you do have or get the ball back, there's not a lot of energy on the return. So because you're doing so much of your work in defence because they've got the ball. When you turn it over, as soon as you go to make offence, there's not a lot of energy or left in the tank to be able to do it. So, well done to them. That's we played a top 8 side, and they clearly were able to work us over. So that was what they did.
Do you feel a bit let down because you've been under pressure, and I mean it's not your fault what happened tonight because they just didn't turn up to play.
No, I don't feel that way, Hamo. I think that it was more just the fact that. Whether we turn up to play or not, the fact is that as a collective group, we all take ownership. I mean, I think back and sort of think, what sort of strategies could we have done differently, and would have that have helped? But it comes down to the whole cold hard fact. Sometimes you've got to win the ball, and we didn't do it. So and that's they were able to get the ball and they dominated possession, and we were chasing backsides, and as a result, we were pretty conked out when we had the ball back.
Because I suppose fans would have, what you expect with Sydney. You know what game you're going to get with their second away game in a row, and I suppose we got a lot of texts from our call tonight just wondering what the plan was for the Lions tonight.
Well, it's hard
to try and stop that.
Hard and executed plan, mate, if you're not winning the ball. It's hard to execute the plan. You know, it's still up to being able to win the footy, and that's still will be a principle. Was 100 years ago, will be in 100 years' time. You got to win the footy, and we didn't do it tonight, Brownie. So you can put different strategies in place, but you got to be able to win the footy.
Nuremberg seem to be getting the advantage of the centre though, so not even to approach that.
Yep, and that'll be definitely something we look at for sure. Because, you know, you've got to have the movement through the stoppages, you've got to have the numbers at the stoppages, you know, and then you've got to have the ability to be able to win the footy. So, yeah, and that regardless of whether we outnumbered them or they outnumbered us, they were still getting their hands on the ball. So that's something that we have to go have a look at and ask the question why, and do a thorough analysis on it as we do every single week.
Starting Rich on the bench, is that?
Oh, rotations, Brownie. You've been watching the game the last couple of years, mate. Like, they spend 3 minutes on the bench and then they're on the field. So, no, not at all.
The senior players, I thought, were all pretty badly beaten tonight, but it's hard to point the finger at them, you know, such a uniformly poor performance, but especially because they've had to carry the side for so long as well. You know, but fans probably want to know how long before the younger players can start to step up and start to take ownership of those roles themselves.
Oh well, we obviously hope that that they're doing that. I have seen them doing that, but what I haven't seen is it consistently across the year, and what I haven't seen is us do it for 120 minutes every single week, and that's something that we've got to be able to continue to build within the group. So, you know, we can't have our senior players being able to do it themselves. They're clearly not. We knew coming into the game that it was going to take everyone to do that. Now, whether that's you played 3 games, Josh Green, or whether you've been Brownie and played 250 and an important member of our football team. The fact is, when you play Sydney, there's got to be an even contribution across the group. We didn't get that. We had too big a gap between our worst and what our best was. And, you know, as a result, the ones that were our best, they get stifled too because, you know, they haven't got enough people joining in. So that's why we operate as a team. You know, that's why we focus on individuals and their important performance. But ultimately, that's why you never ever run, because it puts too much strain on other areas and too much strain on leaders or too much strain on younger players, whichever way you want to phrase it. That's why you collectively got to get out there and get that contribution. Last week, when we played Adelaide, we got that. And as a result, we got a really convincing sounding win. Come against a team that's in the 8 currently, and we weren't able to replicate that. So footy is about being able to consistently do that, because the season isn't 1 week old. It's about being able to replicate that over the course of games on games on games. And collectively as a team, we've got to be able to earn that.
What's that first half? Was that as disappointing a half of football as there's been since you started coaching?
Oh, it certainly was this year. Yeah, it certainly was this year, for sure. We've had some couple of shockers last year, Michael, but certainly this year that was one of them.
Talking a lot about starting with the contested ball, but the bloke's hard enough to do it. Are they tough enough?
Well, you know, we come out in the 3rd quarter and win the contested footy, so they can do it. Absolutely, categorically can do it. So we've got to replicate it and keep doing it.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks.
Thank you.